So you're gonna continue to benefit off of that, and instead of telling him like, "Yo, stop bringing me stuff."
Right. No, thank you. I appreciate the gesture, but I'm really good. I can get my own coffee.
Yeah.
I can get my own breakfast.
No.
You could do that.
She says,
good, dude.
I'm just saying it's only going to go so far. We know that. I'll bring your papers from the copier. Why would he be coming for me and know I'm attached? So who's really wrong here?
See, if Lucifer said these same words, we'd be like, this is evil. Because he's coming from a human, we're gonna overlook. We can't overlook.
It's crazy.
Women be creating stalkers. They be creating their own villain. You talking about you're gonna keep taking the gifts, but if you don't tell that person to stop, come on, like Kyra, keep it 100. If this guy brought you let's say something, $1,000 bracelet, you gonna tell him, no, I don't want that.
No,
you stuttering. That means you taking it.
It's like Urkel is like Urkel and Laura from Family Matters.
Oh yeah, that was wild, crazy.
Well,
Kia, that's the same question for you, Kia. That's the same question for Good morning. Good afternoon. I don't know where Kyra went, but we here. We gonna get started. Kyra's having some technical difficulties, so we're gonna get this show started. Sorry for our lateness, but things happen. So we're gonna get this show. We're not gonna hold nobody up. As you can see, I'm downstairs in the lair, move some boxes around, but we're gonna get started. So we're gonna bring up the man you love to hate and hate to love, Brother Roshawn.
What type of introduction was that? The most innocent person on this podcast. Yeah,
How are you today, brother?
It's funny because we was talking about yesterday. We was talking about the punching bag with my face on it yesterday. Somebody was like, "Yeah, I can't wait till y'all get that. I want to buy one." I'm like, "Whoa, you talking to me?"
Just in time for Christmas.
Tell me how you really feel. You want to punch me in the face, huh?
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try this again. Here comes the queen bee, Kyronce. Hey, Kyra.
What you call her?
Kyronce.
Yo. I like that. I think that needs to stay.
Kyronce?
Yeah. Kyronce.
If you like it, you should have put a ring on it.
Uh-oh. Yeah, technical difficulties. I see my hoodie. Rebuilding dreams through hoops. Support Willie Peterkin Foundation.
Right.
What they do is they take donations and they build basketball courts through the city to give kids a safe haven and a place to play. To keep them off the streets in a safe space. So representing.
Dope. You gotta put that. Make sure Kai put that information up so they can, if people want to, they can order.
Yeah, it's a good look. Good look. Keep kids off the streets. Where she went?
I don't know. She having difficulties. So today's topic today is about entitled children. Whose fault is it really? Is it the parents' fault? Is it the kids' fault? Whose fault is it? Is it Jesus' fault? We don't know. We're gonna find out today. We're gonna talk about it today. So we're gonna start off with some vids. So let's go with, of course, the most recent one. Is drawing up the most foot traffic. So let's start there, and then we'll work our way back.
You ain't put in enough work yet.
I need my career to start now, because if it don't start now, then I'm gonna be rushing to get it later.
You don't say when it's time for your career to start.
Baby. No,
You ain't put in the work.
You don't know.
You are a child.
But there's childs out there making more money than me.
Children, see, that's why you need to be in school.
You don't understand.
You got
I want to make a name for myself. I don't want to.
You gonna make a name for yourself. You
But
gonna make a
let him
name.
do what he doing. Don't try to stop him.
Quit babying him. Let him go through it. There's a certain structure and discipline that comes with school that King definitely needs. That's part of the journey. You can't do it for him. His mama can't do it for him. His mama can't do it for him. Neither can I.
I don't think Tip realizes that King is really serious about creating music. I mean, we want all our kids to get out there and do what they do. But as a parent, you're torn because you want to make sure they keep their ass in school and get good grades.
I'm fighting for what I want. And I'm
Well,
trying to get
keep
it.
fighting, young man. Keep fighting. Ain't gonna do nothing but make a man out you.
Don't cry.
What is you still trying to coddle him for? Let the man walk off, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he need to do. Stop coddling him.
I don't know what parent needs to hear this, but you did everything that you were supposed to do. When you raise children, you train up children in the way that they should go. And when they're older, if they depart from it, that is not a representation of you. That is a representation of the choices that they chose to make. If you know you did your part and you know you did the best that you could to keep them off the streets, to make sure that they were respectful, you don't owe them nothing else. You definitely don't have to be disrespected by a chap that you brought into this world. And if they choose not to work, you're not obligated to give them shelter. Maybe they need to be out there in the world a few days and they'll realize how.
Well, that was that was spicy.
Pretty much.
He's angry.
Pretty much. That was it? Was there 2 videos?
Yep, his chat must have rubbed him the wrong way.
His chat. I never heard that before. That's something new.
Let's try this again. I think Chiron say is ready. You ready, Chiron say?
I guess we Kelly and Michelle.
Nope, she ain't ready.
Oh God.
She freezing all over the place.
It's cold out.
You can definitely tell. But yeah, so what is your take on it while she get herself together? What is your take on?
Hold up, you ain't for one thing before you come at me with anything.
Oh, we gotta do our take it away.
Don't you be disrespectful.
Take it away. Take it away.
All right. Our disclaimer for the show. We gotta say before we get started, we gay, our mama black, who hurt us. What else? I'm always missing one. We hate ourselves, our mama black, we gay, who hurt. And just go into the song.
Meet us at the podcast with your comment. Stop calling Kyra. She ain't gonna do it. Tell you all the wild girl, we ain't got time for it. Let's get candy.
All right, now we can get into it. Entitlement. Whose fault is it?
Whose fault is it really?
It's shared. It's shared because I could totally understand when parents say once my child gets a certain age and they go out into the world. Plus, I also understand how you set the child up, how you raise the child up, you know, instilling certain values and logic, you know, nurturing the balance of logic and nurturing and discipline. I also understand because I, you know, being in a household with multiple children, the parents, they parent different between the children. You know, I may not receive certain things the same as my brother and my sister, you know, so they may treat me a different way. They may treat my brother another way. They may treat my sister another way because, you know, we receive things different and we deal with things different. So that's why I always say to people when they say, oh, well, they came from the same household while one went to college and one went to jail. The parenting may have been different between both of them. Just because you're in the same household don't mean that you was parented the same.
Right.
You know, don't mean that your experiences was the same.
Right.
You know, you have some children that's favored over other children. You have some children that's more aggressive, that's fighters, and some are more lovers. And, you know, it's a difference. You know, you treat, you know, your princess a little different than you may treat, you know, your son, your older son. Like, so, you know, the parenting is different, you know, when you have could be different when you're dealing with multiple children. I don't believe, you know, the one thing that I would say, I don't believe in, I understand the whole, what is it, the spare the rod and all of that stuff.
Spoil the child.
Yeah, I don't believe in spankings and, you know, I believe in sitting down and communicating, you know, having the conversation, you know, because I've seen some parents beat a child and it instills fear, but it didn't instill the lesson of what's really going on, why you shouldn't do certain things. It's just, I'm gonna beat you when you do something wrong. But to have the conversation, it's the whole give a man a fish versus teaching a man how to fish. You know what I mean? To give the child the understanding is something different to me. And I believe, like, even with mothers and fathers are more nurturing. Fathers are more logical and more disciplined. You know, they're more stern. Mothers have the female intuition. Fathers have that fatherly instinct.
Right.
I mean, so it's the balance of two. So when the entitlement comes in with the spoiling, because spoiling turns into entitlement. I believe you can spoil a child without them being entitled. I mean, I believe it's a difference. I mean, entitlement, Phil, is a thing of where it's the expectations of, I'm supposed to have this. This is supposed to be this way. No, when you're raising up children like that, they tend to not be able to receive rejection. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm supposed to have this. This is supposed to happen a certain way, and that's not how the world works. If you send a child out in the world and they don't know how to receive rejection, you're gonna have a problem on your hands.
Right.
You know, that's part of my take on it. What you got?
Kyra, you there? So we can greet you appropriately.
I'm here.
How you doing?
I'm here.
That's your. You look so strong in your picture.
Shut up.
You look so strong in your picture.
Oh, dear God.
Yo. So mess.
No, I fully agree with what you're saying. I think it's a shared. It can be something looked at as shared. I'm trying to find the episode of the Cosby Show where with Bill and Theo, where a lot of times children can feel you can. Our job as parents is to provide for our children and give our children, and our want is to give our children a better life than we had.
Yeah.
But at what time, at what cost of us giving them a better life than we had, do they start to feel entitled because they don't have to work so hard for the things that they've gotten? Like I walk through my house now, and there's 3 Xboxes on every TV because each boy got their own video game. Where when I was growing up, I didn't even have the newest video games. Like I didn't get a Nintendo until Genesis was out. I think I think I got a Nintendo when PlayStation came out. Like, so for our children to get these things and then feel like it's not a big deal that they got it because they didn't have to go through what we may have gone through to achieve the things that we've gotten. I think that plays a great part into the entitlement feel. One of the jokes that Dave Chappelle says, which rings really loud right now with this subject, when he talks about he came home, and he was dressed up. He had his new suit on, and he was walking through the door, and his son was sitting there eating, and his son ran to him with grease all over him, and he was pushed his son away, like, nah, get out of here. I don't want you to mess up my suit with your chicken grease. And the son was like, Dad, this is not chicken. This is duck.
It's duck.
So is that, and he said he was, and he said he teared up a little bit because never in his life did he think that he would do so well that his child would be saying he's eating duck. But
yeah,
those are the dreams and the aspirations that we have for our families. We want to give our families the things that they deserve and the things that they want. But at what cost? When do we draw that line of not feeling entitled?
I give you this is a phrase that I use, and I just had to write it down. It's a phrase that I use when I'm mentoring, and I think it's very, very, important. And it's hard times make strong men. Strong men make easy times. Easy times make weak men. Weak men make hard times. And repeat it. Hard times make strong men. Strong men make easy times. Easy times make weak men. Weak men make hard times. I mean, and that's something that I totally agree with. That, and possibility, of course, that comes along with entitlement and what you feel your expectations are of
right.
Things that should come easy to you when it's not worked for. Like they always say with children, when you buy them something, they take it for granted. But as soon as they start getting money for Christmas and their birthdays and stuff like that, and it's time for them to go spend their money, they're like, nah, I ain't spending all my money. Now you get it.
Right.
Now you get it. You know what I mean? It's and then those same children can tend to get an appreciation for what you do.
Right.
For your sacrifices, especially if you sacrifice a lot for your family. Because a lot of people don't really get those entitled people. They really don't get it until they get put in that situation to have to sacrifice. Because that biggest sacrifice is to do things for people that doesn't benefit you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just giving and giving and giving. But the biggest form of the comeback is appreciation. Just to appreciate what somebody do. And entitlement is a big thing in society. I mean, I think that video that's circulating this weekend really gave an impact to what that really looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially when you got to really set your chat straight.
Right.
You know, because when you start to challenge me, aggressive like that. And I put up a post myself. That strong, that grown man strength is different.
Right.
It's different. It ain't the same.
And every once in a while, they got to feel it. Every once in a while, they got to feel it for them to understand that it ain't the same.
It's not the same. You know, don't get into challenging, you know, Papa Bear. You know, learn from. It's funny because I used to tell my son, you know, he played ball. And, you know, if you know me, I played ball in my past. I actually, you know, played ball for Navy. And he would always say to me, once he started getting a little height, he started getting a little jumping ability and a little, you know, little speed, Dad, I can take you. And I used to say to him, you know, what's the fascination with, you know, challenging, you know, the authority? I was like, instead of challenging me, let's just go out and you learn, and I can teach you what I know. Because every generation is supposed to get, you know, more wiser, more smarter, wiser, intelligent, all of those things. He's like, nah, Dad, I'm telling you, I can take you. Eventually, Deacon, I said, you know what? Get your stuff. Get the ball, let's go. We went to the basketball court. And when I tell you I laid it out, it was a slaughter. It was a slaughter. He probably ain't score a point till I was 15, 16 points in. And I told him, you know, because he had said, he had stopped playing ball at one point. And he was like, yo, maybe I ain't as good as I thought I was. And I was like, no, you're good. You're good. But you're good in your environment.
Right.
Don't step in my environment to challenge me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you grew up in a household to where it was only 3 of y'all. I grew up in an environment where it was 750 apartments. Just imagine how strategic and how competitive I had to be.
Right.
You know, it's different. I mean, so the whole challenging of authority is paramount. You know, learn from me. Don't look to just challenge me to beat me. You know, take everything that I have, add it to your repertoire to make yourself better. You know, so he felt, you know, because he was good in his environment with him and his friends, that said, no, you good over there.
Right.
You good over there. Don't bring it over here. I mean, so that was the whole thing with teaching him. And that's the thing with what I saw over the weekend. You know, maybe in that young man's environment, you know, he felt like he needed to prove himself. He felt like he needed to, you know, stick his chest out a little bit. He got a little older. He got a little, you know, but it's like, you don't know who your father is? I remember the articles.
Yeah, but I think that's where a lot, like, even to what you were saying with your son, like, it's the level of competitiveness, right?
Yes.
So when you're outside and you're playing with your equals, they're about the same height as you, they're about the same skill set as you, you can feel like you have arrived. But then when you step on that court with someone who's a couple of inches taller than you, whose skill set is far greater than yours, because their level of competitiveness was challenged from a higher level than yours. Because you know, when we were growing up, we weren't to go to the park and ball. You were playing against adults, grown men. You weren't out there playing. It wasn't 7 of you. It wasn't 15 teenagers run up and down that court.
Yeah.
the teenager sat on the side, and you had to be good enough to make it onto the court.
Well, they had next after next after next after next after next.
Right. So it's a big difference now, and I think a lot of times people don't understand. Our youth don't understand that the level of competitiveness is on two different levels.
Yeah.
So then when they come in and they talk, like my son has, he talked a lot of. I laughed a million nights of him thinking that he had arrived in certain aspects of his life on the basketball court, video games, all these things. Like, listen, this is not where you want to go, sir. This is not the life you want to live. Like, I'm telling you, don't let this weight fool you. But he had to find out the hard way. And now my other son is coming up, and I see it coming down. That's why I'm back in the gym now, because I'm about to show you some things before you can really understand. I'm not to play with. So I get completely, and it rings so close. It rings really close to home. All the statements that you were saying. Kyrie, you there? You want to chime something in?
Y'all doing good.
Y'all doing good.
So I found a video. I'm about to share it because I think it just needs to be shared. Most people don't even remember this episode. It was actually the first episode of the Cosby. So we watch a history right now. So where is that?
Get into college. Huh?
See, I'm not going to college.
Damn right.
I am going to get through high school and then get a job like regular people.
Regular people?
Yeah, work in a gas station, drive a bus, something like that.
So what you're saying is your mother and I shouldn't care if you get D's because you don't need good grades to be regular people.
Right.
Suppose you graduate from high school. Let's say you just slide by. All right. Now you got to find a job. Now, what kind of salary do you expect for a regular person?
$250 a week.
$250 a week?
Yeah.
Sit down. I'm going to give you $300 a week. Yes, indeed. $300 a week, $1,200 a month. All right?
Great, I'll take it.
Yes, you will. And I will take $350 for taxes.
Whoa.
Huh? Yeah. Now, because see, the government comes for the regular people first. Now, how much does that leave you with?
$850.
All right. Now, you've got to have an apartment because you are not going to live here. So, an apartment in Manhattan will run you at least $400 a month.
I'll live in New Jersey.
All right. Live in New Jersey, you've got to have a car.
I'll ride a motorbike.
You need a helmet. Figure $100 a month for clothes and shoes.
Figure 200. I want to look good.
Okay, so what does that leave you with?
$200. So no problem.
There is a problem. You haven't eaten yet.
I can get by on bologna and cereal. So I got everything I need, plus $200 left for the month.
You plan to have a girlfriend?
For sure. Dad, I thought about what you said, and I see your point.
Thank you. Thank you.
But I have a point too.
Make your point.
You're a doctor and mom's a lawyer. And you're both successful in everything, and that's great. But maybe I was born to be a regular person and have a regular life. If you weren't a doctor, I wouldn't love you less because you're my dad. And so, instead of acting disappointed because I'm not like you, maybe you can just accept who I am and love me anyway because I'm your son.
Theo, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. There's no wonder you get D's and everything. Now, you are afraid to try because you're afraid that your brain is going to explode and it's going to ooze out of your ears. Now, I'm telling you, you are going to try as hard as you can. And you're going to do it because I said so. I am your father. I brought you in this world, and I'll take you out.
You don't get parenting like that no more.
That was big. I remember that. I didn't know that was the first episode though. That was great.
Me either. I that was crazy. But I remember the episode, watching it. I remember watching the episode as a kid. So that was an impactful episode. And for it to come full circle now as an adult, and still those lessons still hold true right now. And it's something that we I won't say we as people in this room, but we as society has gotten far away from. We have made excuses for our children to be to be more entitled. we made excuses for them. They don't have to the same mindset that Theo had. A lot of parents have now. Like, I'm gonna love you for you, and not because you're not living up to your truest potential. But because you're my child, I'm gonna love you anyway. I'm not gonna hold that to you because you're my child. Like, no, as parents, that's our job to have our children rise to those expectations. But now we have coddled our children, as T.I. was saying in that video. We coddle them so tight that they can just half behind it all the way through, and it's okay.
Is it? I think this is where the real conversation starts.
What do you mean? Is it?
Because I think one of the most important parts of that video is when Theo was speaking and he said, you know, you're a doctor, mom's a lawyer, you know, and I love you regardless. So why can't you just love me because I'm your son? And the whole audience erupted. I think like what happened when he stood up and said, that's one of the dumbest things I ever heard, is just because you don't want to try. Now, the question I would like to pose, as far as the balance between mom and dad and how we look at things from a nurturing point of view, because there's a difference when a child falls, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say everybody, because you know how we love to say, not everybody. When the child falls and then the mom goes, oh, come here, baby, get up. And then eventually the dad is like, hey, get up. What's going on? Mm-hmm. Get off the ground. Brush yourself off. I mean, the balance of the two. Maybe because of there's a lot of homes, you know, where the father's not in those homes, where you have a lot of emotional, like from the young man's point of view, you know, with something like what happened with Theo, mm-hmm. you know, where a lot of the audience clapped and cheered, but a man is going to look at that like, no. Yeah, I get it. We're going to love you, but you're going to try harder.
Right.
you're gonna lock in. You know, I don't care about your little speech. I don't care about your little spill. You know, and I think that's where, you know, the disciplinarian sternness of the father comes into play, because we're not gonna be that emotional side, that aspect of the balance, as much as maybe mom may be. You know, mom has her strong sides, dad has his strong sides, but you know, with that emotional side, like we saw with the people erupting,
yep,
I would have treated it the same way. Like no, get on your grind, lock in, and do what you're supposed to do. And that's where I think with a lot of fathers that we miss that stern, old school father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where you need to really lock in. And especially the whole point of, you know, you want your children to be better than you. Do, you know, more than you in life, but you have to want to give that to your child, your children. You know, I have, you know, my children, the biggest thing with my children, I'd say to them is, you can be upset, but you can't be disrespectful. That's a phrase that I tell all of them. If you ever in a setting with my children, you can ask them. That's probably the biggest thing I always tell them. You can be upset, but you can't be disrespectful. We're going to always keep that line of respect. And I'm going to give you everything that I have. But we're going to go in. We're going to go hard. We're going to lock in, and we're going to do what we got to do. So all of the excuses, like all of the crying, all of the, and I guess with the video that you show, one of the first videos where a lot of the women were like, you know, with the whole coddling thing, and T.I. was like, no, stop coddling him. Stop coddling him. You know, he has to learn as a man to brush himself off and figure it out. You know, you have to, a man has to teach his young sons conflict resolution, decision making, you know, just certain things that men do. You know, never sit with your back to the door. When you shake hands firm and look a man in the eye. You know, speak with confidence, walk with confidence. Right. All of those different things, those things that you learn from your dad. You know, like sometimes I get home from work, I come out of the firehouse, I go straight to mowing the grass, or, you know, like I said before, cleaning this or cleaning out, whatever. You know what I mean? But that gives work ethic.
Right.
But as far as, you know, your instincts, you know, if you're walking, walk closer to the curb, you know, open the door, all of those different things you learn from your dad. But as far as being stern and teaching them, it's a hard learn, because, you know, you don't want to upset your children. I want to say, but I'm not your friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not your friend. I'm your father. Sometimes you're going to be upset. Sometimes you ain't going to agree with my decisions, but you don't understand the decisions right now because you're entitled or you're spoiled.
Right.
But it goes right back to, you can be upset, but you can't be disrespectful.
Right. So Thomas, he decided he's choosing violence today. So want to get your insight on his comment. He says, man, just my opinion, if the mom is in charge of the house in all aspects, the children rarely come out sound human beings. There has to be a balance in a 2-parent household.
Hold up, say that again.
He says, is his opinion, if the mom is in charge of the house in all aspects, the children rarely come out sound human beings. Rarely.
Ooh.
There has to be a balance in a 2-parent household.
Yeah. And that's why I say you just chose violence. And that's why I say this is where the conversation starts.
See?
And,
Thomas just want to start trouble.
I mean,
So cut it out, Thomas.
I wouldn't use those terms, of course. Tell them to come on so we can hear, so we can get at this in real time.
He aight.
Ah. Yo.
Carla says entitled children is the parents' fault. And Renee said her mom was more stern than her dad.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be 100%, of course. I mean, but it's power, and I'm gonna tell your father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't go back and forth with that. You know.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm gonna tell your mother is not the same as I'm gonna tell your father.
It wasn't, but some of them back in the day, some of them strong women, like Renee McGuire, like I personally knew her mother, and she was not to be played with. Like, so
I'm not gonna say. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that's 100% in every case. It's not 100% in every case.
If someone said, "I'm gonna tell your mother," you sure enough got yourself right, because she beat everybody in the church. I think she might have beat the pastor.
Yeah, like I agree. Some mothers, of course. But it's a difference from, you know, your mom looking to snatch you up and your father snatching you up. Like I'm not I wouldn't go back and forth with that. No, I'm not gonna do that. I know for a fact. Like my mom, God bless, she passed away recently. And I love my mom. I had parental fear. You know, I'm 6'6", you know, 210 pounds. You know, I ain't no little dude. You know, I was bigger than my mom, but I ain't gonna square up with my mom, even though I was bigger than her. You know, it was a respect and then a parental fear. But with my dad, I knew coming up, you know, that two-piece is gonna be a little different than mom smacking me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like dad snatching me up versus, you know, mom's with her finger in my face. It's like it's two totally different things. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't go back and forth with that. You know, it's a different.
That's why I
it's not 100% of all cases. Of course, there's some moms that's stern and rugged and get dirty with you. You know, in history, of course. But when it comes to mom and dad, you know,
yeah,
if dad, you're gonna have a problem.
You're right.
You're gonna have a problem.
And you right, Shell. She was a swinger. She was a swinger. Dad probably talking with your fingers. You squared up with her mother. Her mother was swinging on you.
And I know some that's like that. One of my best friends in the world was Kiwana McCaskill, and she thugged it out. You know what I mean? My goddaughter, Kevra, she knows she ain't play with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't play with her mom. But that's 1 out of 100.
Right.
You know, of dads that, you know, didn't play. I mean, so I get it. There's moms that was ready to go. There is some moms that was out there that was ready to go, but you know, I'm gonna tell your father used to really, really mean something. I don't know.
That was universal. That was universal. Even when kids didn't have fathers, you said, "I'm gonna tell your father." They got scared because they didn't even know who their father was. They didn't know which angle they was coming from. So Thomas comes back with a rebuttal saying, "Let's keep it real. How emotionally unstable the men are these days is because they're raised by women and their head disciplinary, not all but most. They were raised by women as the head disciplinarian, not all but most."
I get his point, but I would like for him to unpack that. You know what I mean? I understand where he's going. I understand what he means. You know, and as a podcast and as grown people, to have that type of conversation, you have to understand, and it's not my numbers. I always say that as a disclaimer, that 80% of our 80% of our children is born into single parent households, single mother households. I mean, but then when you look at, some of our young men, they're more emotional. They lack decision making. They lack conflict resolution. They're incarcerated. They're dropping out. Like a lot of that stuff. I know what he's saying. I know what he's talking about. I mean, of course, there's other things that factor into that. Of course it is. You know what I mean? But that's just going to open up another door. That's why I said, getting his take on it, I would like to hear, from his perspective, exactly what he means.
Oh, he here. Let's bring him on.
Uh-oh. Gonna be 2 punching bags being made this Christmas.
Hello?
What up, Dave? What's going on?
What's going on?
What you got?
I said that because look at how emotional he is in the video. Like everything about him is like his mannerisms, the way he argues is feminine. But you can even if you look at the old T.I. video, he says to them, y'all always coddle him, y'all treat him a certain way. Even a joke they made of him, they was like, your grandmother let you suck on your pacifier till you was 12. Like,
and that tends to be on the nurturing side of, the nurturing, the coddling. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
And it's not like T.I. could be around a lot. He's the breadwinner. He always going on tour. That's how he make a majority of his money. So when you do that, this is just me. The quality of the woman as the head of the household when you're gone has to be better. You can't overly coddle especially your son, because his older brother doesn't act like that. None of his other siblings act like that, just him.
And he's the one that always went to his grandmother.
Yeah, or was with his aunt, or with his godmother, or was with his mother.
Right.
His whole life, he's running behind women, and then you expect him to act masculine? It's not going to work like that.
Yeah,
I mean, now I want to hear from Kyra's perspective as a woman. I mean, could you understand that or agree with that, or what's your rebuttal?
A rebuttal to what Thomas said.
Because I get what he's saying. I get his point.
I stand on business.
What?
I stand on business. He sound like a moist towel.
Okay, King. If we talking about T.I. and the King situation, King is just spoiled. Because we all have to remember one thing. Even though they had that show, all of those kids did not live under that same roof.
Where did they live?
T.I. got with their mamas.
Most of those children are with Tiny.
No, it's not.
One daughter is
her daughter.
T.I. That's not
exactly. T.I. And T.I. got kids with someone else.
Majority of those kids lived in that house. But what? Okay, put it like this.
I said some of the kids did not live in the house. And I said,
if they not living in that structure, why he the only one to act like that?
He got 2 sons.
But he got little brothers too, and they don't act like that.
He got 2 sons, 3 sons with Tiny, I think. Is it 2 or is it 3? I think it's 2 sons he got with Tiny. And then he got the daughters.
But why don't they act
with
like that?
Tiny?
I mean, let's get to the
point. We
don't
even see the little one. The one that was after King, I don't even see him. Nobody don't even know what he do. I don't even see that boy on no type of social media. King was always spoiled.
In all respects,
he was always spoiled.
In all respects to where people lived or who lived in the house or this, that, and the third. We're speaking more on the coddling and
I get that, but that's why I said what I said. King was the one that was spoiled. He was always spoiled. He was always acting up like he had something to prove.
Who spoiled him?
Who spoiled him?
I don't know because I don't live in that boy house. His mom could spoil him.
Just watching
his daddy could have spoiled him. He just a spoiled kid.
No,
that's what I'm saying. Who spoiled him? We understand watching because I didn't watch the show like that.
Well, to me, it seemed like the mother. It seems to me that neither parent was really there.
Was he with a masculine, some more of a masculine environment?
Yeah, Tanya, you're right, major. But to me, it seemed like the grandparents raised him because Tiny was working.
His aunt,
because she had to make money. When that show was on, Tiny was working because she had to make money because her husband was in jail.
Come on, let's
because she was working.
Tiny wasn't making no
Tiny
money.
was working. Tiny had two reality shows. And she had got back with Escape.
I get it.
So that's why I say her mother, and I think that was T.I.'s sister.
And his godmother.
That was on the show.
His grandmother.
And Tiny mother. I think it was the mother and T.I.'s sister.
So what he's saying as far as with the young man, it did play into being spoiled, overly nurtured by the women.
Because that's who raising them kids right now.
So you agree?
Let me ask. I mean,
grandparents. Didn't say grandparents. What grandparents or grandparents spoil their kids?
I mean, but
you ain't even talking about that.
We can also say that grandfathers are stern as well. Grandmothers, they can be softened and more inviting than they were with you. Because I always hear people be like, "Where was this person at when I was younger?" I mean,
absolutely.
The same way you can talk about with my kids. The same way you can talk about King, you can talk about Kane in Minister Society, where his grandfather was like, "You got to get out of here."
Yeah, but even in that movie,
grandfathers can be stern as well. But the question is, in our culture, with the children being in the arms or in the environment, the majority of the time with the women, does that come into play from his perspective?
It all depends.
What it depends on.
Because everybody ain't the same. I'm not a coddler, so I protect my kids. Don't get me wrong.
I was about to say flag on the play.
No, I protect my kids. Don't get me wrong. I will always protect my children because they're my children. But I don't overly coddle my children.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Is that an issue in our community though? Is that an issue in our community? That's what I'm trying to get to. I get it. We can speak on our personal this and our personal that, but as a culture, is that an issue in our community as far as from what he's speaking on, the children being amongst the women as much?
Yes.
Is that creating an issue as far as young emotional men who are not good decision makers, who are not good in conflict resolution, who don't have the instincts of their father like days of past?
Are you just simply asking me, is it women's fault that men are
not just fault? Because of course men come into play with that as well. Men come into play with that as well.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, is that an issue? Not is it just your fault? There's more. It's a lot of fault in it. It's the school system, is the court system, is the mamas, is the daddies, is the grandmothers, is a whole lot of things that go into it. I mean, but in order, the first step into correcting any problem, is first admitting that there is one.
Yeah. What's the common denominator?
Okay.
Because even when you said Kane and Minister Society, in that movie, his grandmother was always the one coddling him, trying to protect him. Whenever the grandfather would give us a direction, he could go whine to his grandmother. We seen the same thing happen months ago with 50 Cent's son. His mom filled his head with goofy stuff, and now he out here feeling entitled. Like, bro, you a grown man. He don't have a job talking about 60, what he said, 6,800 isn't enough for one person to live on. He was raised, any one of these people you're gonna name, like that's having kid issues, even though Russell Simmons, he funny style, he had the same issue months ago with his daughters. Like, oh, let me get some bread. Let me get some bread. And he was like, yo, I ain't got no money for y'all. What they did when they didn't get their way, they put it on the internet. A lot of these, but those kids raised by the mother. And I'm not saying, oh, women are evil. What I'm saying is, if you're gonna do certain things, especially like create a child, the quality of the person you're doing that with, you have to be mindful of that. So if you create a child with somebody that's not mentally stable or have any type of logical foundation, a lot of the times kids will become entitled. Because, especially like, look at, I don't like to call it the black community, but look at the black community, right? How is it that you'll see a lot of mothers when they take pictures of their kids are in pictures throwing up gang signs, but they'll still post the picture. You don't know what your kids doing with their hands, and then you taking pictures, posting on social media. First of all, there's no discipline, because if your kids is gonna throw up gang signs with you in the picture, they don't give a fuck about you. That's just simple. Like, oh, the father is absent. You picked a father.
I mean, but I'm a firm believer in you can't all the time place all the blame on a teacher that's not there. You know, it's if you're the sole provider, the sole teacher, the sole everything, that's your morals, that's your values, that's everything that you're putting into. Of course, there's other factors. That's why I said issues, not fault. Because we got to be real. We got to be real. Careful and particular on how we word stuff.
Of course, because you could also add environment. Like if you in a twisted environment, and in that environment you're going to develop friendships, but that don't mean those friendships are healthy, because that's how you fall susceptible to like peer pressure. Because just because that's your friend, you think he have the best they want the best for you, when they really don't.
Absolutely. Never accept a noble motive that hides a wicked agenda.
Exactly.
Not every time, everything that somebody want to do for you is for the betterment of you or culture or family. Of course.
And then even when we look at it like this, right? The cause of that conversation, that caused the problem, was the fact that I don't know why in the black community we identify black culture as, you're not black if you never struggled. This guy grew up in mansions and all of that. He's talking about, I would sleep with roaches on my face. Like, bro, why are you proud of that? Why are you proud that your grandmother's house was dirty? What? And then when his mom was like, you grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth, he was like, I never ate from a silver spoon, because he's a moron. The concept flew over his head when she said it to him. He thought she was talking about an actual silver spoon. Like, and that's
I mean that fascination with that whole the whole gangster street thing. It's always fascinating to me, because we came from the same place, and you already know, all the gangsters, all the people that was about life, that life or anything close to it. You're trying to get away from that.
Yeah.
You're trying to get out of it. You know what I mean? So if anybody is looking to gravitate towards it, that's already a red flag for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a lot of variables that go along with all of that nonsense with T.I. and his son. I mean, I don't know if everybody, they accept that their child is trouble. T.I. said it out of his own mouth when he did the interview, Shay Shay, on his podcast. He said that. He said, my son bad as hell. He don't listen. He likes to learn things the hard way, and he accepted it. That came out of his father's mouth, and he said, if my son don't do an about face, he will end up in jail. and
I think it's a difference.
I accept that.
I think it's a difference.
So
I think it's a difference.
And I think too that King is just trying to prove King trying to be like his father.
He can't be.
His father came from a whole different
environment,
generation.
Era. Yes,
exactly. But he still, to me, that's what it seemed like to me. That's why he wanted to be so down and he wanted to be so hard and he want to act like he from the hood and all this and that. When everybody already know you ain't from the hood.
That's what I'm about to say. There's a difference because I grew up in the inner city environment, and I understand there's a difference between somebody acting out and trying to prove themselves,
exactly,
and the real ones that really put in work, that really was put their hands on business. You know what I mean? So there's a difference. I've seen plenty of kids like that that's just want to prove that they ain't soft, prove that that they tough or whatever. But the real ones, they're the ones that you read about.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The ones that them articles come out and they like, hey, like it's a difference. It's a difference. The ones who's really from that element, they get it. They know it. Like I as soon as I've seen that video, I was like, he give him a hug.
His son is a clown.
I mean, give him a hug. Sit down with a therapist, talk about it.
And that's exactly what he needs because he got some issues.
He
got a lot of issues.
I think what he needs is
some of that stems back to society anyway, though, because if I didn't have to, if society didn't look at me a certain way, then I wouldn't have to try to prove to them that I'm hard.
I mean, but he created that though, because he's pretending to be something he's not. The only thing
he has no choice but to.
But yeah, the whole rap culture is sold on that bravado.
Yeah. He needs to be, the best medicine for him would be to be financially cut off. If you want to stand on business, you think you are what you think you are. Here, you love the hood so much, you have no money, go live there. I'll see you in 5 days because you'll be back before 5. You'll be back. Because you've accomplished nothing in life, but you walk around with jewelry on. The business you say you live because of me, my money. If we cut you off, can you survive? The answer is no. As soon as you get to the hood, we're gonna violate you.
And that's why I looked at the video that you had posted, Deacon, where T.I. was like, stop coddling him.
Mm-hmm.
Let him figure it out. That's why I feel like the balance and sometimes you need both, and I get it, but I know that a lot of moms are more nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
They're more emotional like that. Where a lot of fathers is like, get up, brush yourself off, get right, go figure it out.
Exactly.
I mean,
but this generation is especially in our community. The kids are very much so entitled. That's why there's no respect. That's why you got people like me and older. Oh, these kids so damn disrespectful.
I think that's what Thomas was talking about.
That's what I was talking about.
Yes,
that's what he was talking about.
The kids are entitled, and that's because parents allow them to be entitled because they give them everything that they want without having to work for nothing.
But that's
not having to earn anything.
But that's my point, though. And like I said, I'm not blaming anything on women. But what I'm saying is, if you're raised, if you have 4 siblings, right, and there's one parent in the house, there's no way that one parent could have structure with all 4 children. It's not going to be possible. It's not, because they're gonna.
You see my brat now feeling entitled.
Look,
you see what you got on.
Shut up.
entitled puppy.
we see a lot of the time, and I said this weeks ago in the chat. I was like, the community is twisted because it's like we'll throw a party for somebody that come home from prison. But if somebody going to college, a lot of the times they up there surviving on ramen noodles because the family not sending them anything. Like, why is that? How is it that your son getting D's, but he still got on all the Jordans? Nah, you're gonna get some Payless shoes.
And that's why I say what I say. It's the parent. It is the parents who make these kids entitled. Because when you start giving your child everything, whether they earned it or not, of course they're gonna feel like they're gonna get whatever they want, whenever they want it, however they want it.
Yeah,
of course they're gonna feel like they don't have to respect you.
But
yeah, because hear me out on this, right?
That comes from trauma. That comes from adults who, as children, were not allowed to have everything, or was not given everything. So then, when they come into some money, even if it's not a lot of money, they're gonna do things strange for a piece of change, whatever they need to do for their child to have the things that they didn't have.
And when you just hear me out. This is just a theory of mine, right? If like you say to yourself, damn, maybe my kid getting bad grades because I'm not nurturing enough or caring enough as a mom. Let me buy him something nice. And you figure that's gonna that might help correct what he's doing. But no, you can't throw money at a problem and expect change. And this is just my opinion. A lot of the times, like say when women are going through things, the way they make themselves feel better, even if they're in the wrong, is by buying themselves something. You can't do that same mentality and then do it with your kids because it's not going to fix anything. You can't give little Rah-Rah brand new Jordans and he an F student. He should get
absolutely not.
Huh? But
I said absolutely not.
But we see a lot of parents do it, whether it's men or women. There's no way your kid should have on designer and they can't name all of the continents. Like they can't tell you what the capital of New Jersey is and they live in New Jersey. Come on. Like the reading level of the kids these days is ridiculous.
I see it. I see it. It's terrible.
It's high school kids and it's 12th graders out here walking around with 5th grade reading levels, but got on Gucci, Fendi, MCM.
Mm-hmm. But you got to also look at the parent. You got to look at the age of the parent. Because it come with age. Like I'm 46 years old. So I ain't start having my kids until I was in my 20s.
You said you 40. Last week you said you was 27.
Ain't no way I said no such a damn thing.
And cousin, you set him up. There's gonna be a trickle down to everything that he's saying. Because now what he was saying was
now that I actually know who Thomas is, I'm gonna get Thomas.
From what he was saying was now you have children having kids. You know, who are those? The majority of those children that's having kids, what households do they come from?
I don't know.
Oh, here we go.
That's what he was saying. I wanted him to articulate to come on and speak his piece. That the majority of let me say it. The majority of teenage pregnancies is from single mother households.
Okay.
That's what he was explaining. Okay. That a lot, from you say it. I don't because they're gonna be like.
Okay, and I understand that they come from a single mother household. Okay.
Why are you saying it like that?
Yeah, well, are you okay over there?
But I'm fine.
See, it's part of the sisterhood. They can't go against the sisters.
Word.
What sisterhood? What does got to do with the sisterhood?
You know what the sisterhood is. Y'all
I don't know what no sisterhood is. I'm not part of a sisterhood. So I don't know what that is.
You automatically emotionally are tied to a sisterhood.
I am not. Mm-hmm. Y'all in this sisterhood. Okay, we got a sisterhood, y'all got a brotherhood. What's the difference?
Yeah, but we keep it.
No, y'all don't.
Yeah, we do.
No,
Yes,
no,
we
y'all
do.
don't.
Yeah, we
No,
do.
only some of you do. Not all of you. Stop
It's
it.
always gonna be. It's always gonna be that way.
Stop it.
When you look at it, when you're talking about parenting, like we can speak on economics, men stepping up, and I believe in a lot of cases men have, you know, took steps towards that. Like I've said in a couple episodes, you know, the CDC states that the Black fathers are the face of fatherhood in America. They do the best
Rocky.
with the best with their children. Economically, Black men, you know, is over 50% is in the middle class. 2.5 million Black men are in the upper class, singular, you know, now. So as far as us holding men accountable, you know, we try to do that. But anytime we speak on anything about, you know, the anything negative from a woman's, you know, arena, we get a lot of pushback and you hate yourself and you're gay and you're this, when it's like, no, if we can't have a conversation, that's why I wanted him to come on and say it himself, because you ain't gonna.
For me, it's not even pushback or whatever. But it's not.
You can't. But you can't say that. You can't say that.
I am saying it because I'm not pushing back. I was trying to make a point, but
I'm talking cultural.
And I understand that culturally.
The pushback I'm talking about. Yeah. When men are having conversations on different pages, because I'm in a lot of different groups. I'm on a lot of different pages. You know, I'm in a lot of men's spaces. In a lot of time, the majority of the times where men are speaking about the negative side of, you know, something about women, there's always pushback.
Yes.
There's always pushback. That's all I was saying. You can't say that. These are our experiences as men.
Yeah.
We're telling you from the man's perspective. When we have these conversations about the negative aspects of women, there's pushback and they actually attack you. Yeah. That's where the disclaimer comes from.
I remember a few weeks ago, I was about to call you Gates, my bad. I remember a few weeks ago.
Absolutely, Renee.
When Sean said men come out for men pay for events for men, and men set up events for women. I forgot to add to that. It was a lot of pushback when he said that, like, women do things for women. But I was like, that's not really the case, because the Essence Festival is thrown by a man. And that's one of the biggest festivals for Black women. And it's thrown by a man. So
I mean, men, and that was my point to, and I don't want to get sidetracked, but that was my point to the young lady that was on the show.
Yeah,
that men do men events.
Yeah,
men do women events.
Yes,
women do women events.
Yeah,
and that's what I was saying to her. You know, I would like to see for women to empower men the same as they look for men to empower women.
Yes. Because, like, even what you said, like, as a community, right? For the most part, men hold men accountable.
Yes.
But whenever we try to hold each other, like men and women, like, accountable, it's always a negative pushback. Like, oh, you see women that'll say men shouldn't speak on women, which is ridiculous. So you trying to tell me if a father sees his daughter being out of line, he shouldn't say anything to be like, hey, don't do that. You're gonna embarrass yourself. He shouldn't speak on that. Like,
this is true. Like I've spoken. I've read stats. I've read stats. Not even my opinions. Not even from me. It ain't had nothing to do with me. I've read stats, and people would say, "Oh, well, he hate himself," or he. And I'm like, you must don't know me.
Yeah.
In order for you to say any of these things, you have no clue who I am.
Yeah,
and That's the issue with culturally being able to have a true open conversation. It's like us as men, we truly can't.
No,
because as soon as you voice something, because like I said, I understood where you were going, but I know where it can go.
Yeah,
that's why I said let you come on and articulate this yourself, because I know where this can go. It's gonna always be some type, pushback from somewhere where, it even comes to a point to where you will get attacked.
Yeah.
For speaking, your mind, or just having an opinion, or just reading off stats, you will get attacked.
Okay, I don't. As far as y'all say the pushback go, I think that go both ways. But of course, it go both ways. But I don't agree with anybody attacking anybody for their point of view, because it's an opinion. It's your point of view.
What do you mean it go both ways? What do you mean it go both ways?
And what do you mean opinion? If he said
no,
it goes
one thing at a
both
time. What
ways.
do you mean it go both ways? What do you mean?
Because when women, as I've seen, when they say things and they talking about men, or they talking about anything to y'all that's about anything negative about a man, then a man or men come and they have to say things negatively. Because it's like, oh, you attacking us, so I'm gonna attack you back. I'm gonna get my lick. We getting our lick back. That's how. Well, that's what I see.
No. What I was gonna say is I don't see that from the broader perspective like you get from the woman's side. That 100%. I don't see that.
Of course.
Do you?
Of course.
No, I'm asking you. Do you? Do you see the same pushback from men that you see from women? Absolutely not.
That's why I said what I said. It go both ways.
No,
it's like it's always going to be a disagreement sometimes between men and women, because women going to feel as though they're being attacked by women are going to feel as though they're being attacked by men, and men are going to feel like women are attacking them, instead of just taking it as this is a conversation.
But take our experience. I get it. The safest thing to say is it goes both ways. Of course things go both ways, but when it's out of 10 times, 9 to 1, it's not a fair equation.
No.
Because you don't see the pushback from men the same as you see from women. It's just not true. Just look at this show alone. How many men have called me about your views versus how many women called you about my views? I've not received one phone call about anything that you said. Anything that you said. Anything that anybody said. Men take it and they work on themselves. Of course you'll get some stragglers that say, hey, nah, not all men. Yeah, and you know how I feel about the not all thing. It's not allism. Of course it's not all. I mean, but
because people take some work.
Hold on, let me say
because
it.
It's a perception.
Let me say it. Let me say it, and you can have it. But how much pushback do the men get from speaking negative about some women behavior? It's not the same. It's nowhere near the same.
Okay.
See, that's what happens. That's what happens. When it's not like a real rebuttal, they'll bow out the conversation.
I'm not bowing out of nothing, because I can't even get I can't even finish a complete sentence. Every time I begin to talk, I get cut off. So I'm just like, okay, I was the one talking in the beginning. I was trying to we were talking about entitlement, the entitled children, and I was beginning to talk, and then I got cut off. And then I was about to say something else, and then I got cut off again. I'm just, and that's why I muted the phone, and I let y'all have it.
I asked you questions that
you can hit
every time you don't want to answer the question.
Joy. You can hit the link.
I've asked questions. And even when I was speaking, all I would say is, let me ask the question.
Okay.
See? Okay. But that's all I'm saying. Like,
I said okay.
When it's like a back and forth, and like men, like we're talking and being reasonable for the most part. I'm not saying not all, but for the most part, being reasonable and trying to see things from both aspects. But if the rebuttal is something not to the liking of the woman, it go left. It's like, oh, you're attacking me. I'm not attacking you. This is a conversation in generalities. This has nothing to do with you. This is talking as a whole of the black man and black woman. This is the whole, because there has to be a foundation. That's why the community is fucked up. There's no foundation. Anytime someone feels attacked, they take themselves out of that, what they're called toxic environment. Even though, how are we going to fix anything if we can't talk about anything?
I never said I felt attacked.
No, I'm not saying. See, that's what not talking about you. I'm talking about as a whole. I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
See, I just said some people. We're talking about the.
No,
whole.
I didn't hear it because I didn't hear it. So that's why I said I came in the middle of what you were saying. Okay. So that's why I said what I said.
Okay, yeah, and that's all I'm saying. Especially if people, like, if we're gonna have a meaningful conversation, especially about the black community, we have to start from somewhere. If we can never get past talking or negotiations, how do we get anything started? Like, because don't get me wrong, right? I like to call like chaos.
No shit.
But at the end of the day, I was trying to keep it on topic. Y'all the ones that took it to the left.
No, this is on topic. It says entitled.
No, it's not on topic because it went from it went from entitled children to something else.
No, because
that's a whole nother different topic.
It's still on topic.
I don't think it's on topic.
It says whose fault is it?
It's about whose fault. Whose fault is it?
It's nobody's fault. It's the parents' fault. It's the parents, it's the grandparents, it's everybody's fault.
And that's what he's explaining. He believes it's more of the woman's fault. He's on topic.
I'm on topic.
He believes it's more of the woman's fault.
Okay, so where did the rest of the conversation come from?
It all
the pushback about negativity and
because he's saying
I'm like, wait a minute.
Because he's saying anytime we have a conversation. I'm sorry. He's saying anytime we have a conversation and a woman he's saying anytime there's a conversation and we're speaking something negative about women, we get pushback to where we can't even have the conversation.
Yeah.
It's on topic. I believe.
I don't think so, Bo. Go ahead, Joy. Say what you need to say, Bo.
Hi, everybody in person in the bubble.
What up, sis? How you been?
Awesome. So I came late, and I don't want to be here long. Number one, I saw the T.I. and Tiny altercation incident with the son, and I follow a lot of, their issues, their family issues when trending. And I absolutely believe that the child's issue just really stems from the family dynamic as a whole and how that play on his mental and emotional well-being as a whole, the mother, the father, society, the community. Like it's in this case just about that child. It's a million factors because of the access that the child have to things in the world and the desires that the child is displaying. That's that part. I wanted to come on and just address this. I think that when we're having these conversations, and we are having these conversations to build better relationships, I say this to Sean all the time. We have to be very careful about the language we use, because there is really a war going on between men and women. So statements that are pointed like, oh, the mother is normally the nurturer, which is true, and the mother create this type of environment, which isn't always true, it automatically draws a line. So that's that part. The second part is, so I don't know where Deacon went, but I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna go because I'm gonna get in trouble. I love to spend time in male spaces, because a woman cannot speak to the male experience and a male cannot speak to the female experience. So I met Deacon because I joined a platform that was predominantly male of his friend group. I think this is friend group, I don't know. And I liked it because it seemed like it was like-minded men. They were very opinionated about things, and they were vocal and funny and all that kind of stuff. But what I learned, what solidified my thoughts about men is, men just don't like conflict. It could be right, it could be wrong. They just don't like to argue. Is a very particular type of man that likes to argue, you know, the sassy kind. But if it's a man, most men will watch the fire burning, and kind of, as long as his lifestyle is not being impacted, or you know, his money or his children, he will sit back and let that thing go. And that is condescending when we're talking about changing these communities. So it's not that men hold each other accountable, because on a larger scale, I've never seen it. Most men are in agreement that they don't like conflict. They want to be at peace.
You know why?
But that's in relationships. That's in relationships. When we talking culturally, when we talking hold up.
I'm not even talking about relationships. I'm telling you.
I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about relationships. Just as far as when we're talking culturally like this, and you get a lot of men that speak from their experience, and you get a lot of women to tell them what they think and what their experiences is, when we're trying to tell you, no, this is how we see things. This is what we experience. This is what it is.
Yeah.
That's where it gets, because we can listen to you as a woman. We can listen to you and your experiences and everything. This thing was simple to me. And the one thing that you left out is men are simple. Men are simple. We this don't have to be a back and forth like that. The only thing that he said, which I told him to come on to articulate himself, is that 80% of our children come from a single mother household. Yes. I know where he was going. I know exactly where he was going, but I wasn't going to have that conversation, because I know where that conversation can go. So I said, you come on and articulate that yourself. But like I said, when you have that conversation, it turns into something else.
Yes.
Well, so I'm a you know, Kat was getting double teamed on here.
Sisterhood power activate.
It shouldn't be a double team. It's cultural.
Double team on here.
It's not a double team, and that's my point about the sisterhood. Stop. It's not about being double teamed. If we're having an open conversation about our culture, it don't matter who's in a room. It don't matter if it's 5 men and 1 woman. If it's about the betterment of our environment, our culture, our community, and our families, it don't matter if it's being like, we can't be gender biased.
No,
if it's right, it's right, and if it's wrong, it's wrong.
But listen,
no matter what genders is in a room.
Exactly. But listen, and you could take it. You haven't taken it for the whole year that I've been knowing you, but it's okay. Pick up the puppy. Where the puppy?
Say what you gotta say.
You have to be mindful of the language you use, because there's.
We can't keep doing that. We can't keep doing that.
Because listen,
can't keep doing that.
You have to, because
no, I don't agree. I'm sorry. I don't agree.
Such a divide. There's already.
I don't agree.
Divide you don't agree that there's a divide?
No, I don't agree that you got to keep walking on eggshells. Hold up. Let me say it, and you can have it. Let me say it, and you can have it. I don't agree that we have to keep walking on eggshells to appease a certain type of person. If you know, let me say it. If you know that this is wrong, no matter how I say it, fix it. If the engine is bad, in the Mercedes Benz, and I come and say fix this piece of shit, no matter how I say it, it needs to be fixed.
Fact.
I may cut you out and say, hey, don't be talking to me like that. Just like I said to them a long time ago. If you're walking down the street and you drop the $100 bill, and somebody say, hey, stupid, pick that $100 bill up, you stupid ass. You're going to say, hey, stop talking to me like that. But you're going to acknowledge that you dropped that $100 bill and pick that $100 bill up and keep moving. So you know that there's an issue still there. But to say, I'm not going to fix it because of your tone or how you saying it, I don't agree with it. The issue is still there. Fix it.
You know what I like about that tone stuff?
This is such a
because you don't talk to your boss like that.
Like
get
what?
That work done before 2:00 today.
I don't know. I don't have those.
I'm talking about in general because I don't like that women be like women to say, oh, the tone. Like F the message. You're too focused on the words that are being used when you to be focused on the message.
It's not a female or male thing. You guys were triggered by something that was said.
I ain't triggered by nothing.
We wasn't triggered.
I ain't triggered by nothing.
I wasn't triggered. You were the one that was triggered by the words. You said you got to be mindful of the words you use.
No,
that's triggered.
That's you.
Listen. The fact that this conversation went left, it not left, but the fact that the conversation, it didn't go left, but the fact that the conversation is evolving into this, something inspired it to go.
But the title says entitled children. Whose fault is it?
Whose fault is it?
I didn't see the title. I came in.
Then you can't speak on that.
No, I came in because I heard the King conversation, right? And I say, let me address that. I watched that. I saw that. The T.I. and Tiny's son, that's a one thing, right? That's it. I'm gonna touch that. The conversation about men holding each other accountable or checking each other, let me touch that, right?
Yeah.
The conversation about the male role in the household and the female role, let me touch that, right? And as a woman and a mother of boys, young men, let me touch that. I can't speak to their experience in life, and they cannot speak to mine. So when we are doing that, because there is trauma there, you have to be responsible about how you are saying things. That's my piece. Take it, throw it away, keep it, do whatever. But I just wanted to come and say that it was very bullet.
I think your triggers are yours, and I believe if you have issues that's deeper than the surface, then you need to get help for that. And don't enter spaces to where you're probably going to be triggered by certain things. I believe we're having a open, healthy conversation, but sometimes you get pushback because certain information is more sensitive to some people than others. That's why we speak on the sisterhood. We can sit here and talk about men, that's not doing their part all day long. And we'll just have the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as we talk about, some of the things that's not right on a woman's side, that's where we get a lot of this pushback. That's where the whole sisterhood thing comes from. That's where it comes from. It's not the first time you guys heard this.
That's your experience. That's
not just my experience. Like I said, it's the experiences of the spaces that I'm in, the pages that I'm on, the people that I mentor a lot of people. Like Thomas know who I am.
Yeah,
I mentor a lot of people. I'm in a lot of different spaces. It's not a secret.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying. It's not a secret of women like to a lot of women or some women. I'll say that like to support women. You got to stand up for the sisters. You got to stand up for the sisters. You even when they're wrong. We've seen this in a lot of different places, and I don't want to have this conversation turn into that. Yeah. But what he was saying, like I said, so he can articulate it himself, was his truth.
Yeah.
which I can understand. I may not agree with everything, but I understand what he's saying. I just knew that he was going to get pushed back when he said it, and I just wanted him to say it. I wasn't going to say it.
No, you don't say it.
I like to say stuff like that because it's true. Anytime you meet a man that lacks
all things.
It's true. It's true for you. It's true for you.
Anytime you meet a man that lacks accountability, it's because he learned it from his mother.
Oh God.
Wait. I have a question. Then, Kat, you could drop me down. I have a question. So, you said men check men. Men hold men accountable when they're wrong, and then the man
historically, that's. I'm sorry.
You said men hold each other accountable, and then there was somebody mentioned that said, and when the men do hold each other accountable, the man take assessment of the behavior and then change it. I heard that in this conversation.
Okay, make your point.
Is that a general statement? Is that a general, or is that just like
it was said? It was said. Go ahead and make your point.
Is that a general statement?
It was said. It was said.
Like, what's the percentage
to the person who said it? Can't speak for everybody, but go ahead, make your point.
What's the percentage of men that do that?
We can't say that. There's no way for us to know that.
I missed that. I heard numbers though. I heard
stats. For the most. What happened was, for the most part, men hold men accountable. For the most part, we're not talking about, because if we wanted to get into numbers, like even when it comes to like the men that have babies compared to the men that don't have babies, only 20% of the men have babies with 60% of the women.
This is true.
So
over 50% of men are childless.
Exactly, because most women share baby fathers.
I gotta go. Kat, it was nice. It was nice talking to y'all.
It was nice seeing you, Joy.
Get the dog. Get out the bubble. Where your face at? Because we need to scream at you in real life.
Thanks for joining.
Oh God. She didn't even make her statement.
Because, hey man, these thoughts be in my head. You gotta say them.
These thoughts be in my head. You gotta say them.
You have to say them, like, because if we could say, right, like, and because when she said she was focusing in on a part. All right, this is me doing the same thing. If I look at the demographic of everything, right, and I say, all right, over 50% of men don't have children, and 20% of men have children with 60, almost 70% of the women. And then those 70%, which is the majority of their demographic, turn around and say, all men ain't shit. I take offense to that because I'm like, no, them niggas you talk to ain't shit.
I can agree with that. And not to stay off, but just to give to our viewers, these are numbers that you can actually look up. If you don't believe it, just look them up. I can share with a lot of you guys, over 50% of Black men don't have children.
Yes.
They're fatherless. That's the numbers. That's the actual numbers. It's not somebody's opinion or what they think. I shared it with the podcast. Derek can tell you, Kyra can tell you. I've shared that information with them from, different sources. But over 50% of men don't have children. I mean, so when you see conversations like this, it's more feeling based than logic and numbers based. It's not of true reality. I don't care for people's feelings. I don't care for what people think.
Yeah.
I can share information all day. I'm a very research person. Yeah. I may not have all of the numbers and all of the research, but I research what I research, and I'll share it with anybody. So when people hear certain things and they don't get it, it's probably coming from your truth.
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with a my truth thing. If I share numbers, it's not my numbers.
No.
It's the numbers from statistics. And those are numbers you can look up, that over 50% of black men don't have children.
Yeah.
That's recorded. You can, but.
And that's why, and I always say, is what?
No, I was going to say we're an hour and 40 minutes in. But go ahead, say your piece. So,
But yeah, that's why I said I don't be wanting problems when I come up here. These, like I said, these thoughts pop in my head, and I just want to, bounce them off the wall with people, see what they think, see if they agree. Because some people, based on their feelings, they won't agree with anything.
Yeah, because feeling based, I get it.
And that's why I said, even when we talk about, so I have to walk on eggshells when I talk to you, trying to have a productive conversation with you. But if it's a person that has a job, whether it's a man or a woman, if I tell you that you got the deadline is 2:00 or you done, how you feel about that? Like, you're going to get that job done. And I think we should have the same mentality when it comes to like,
like I see Rocky. You're right. Feelings aren't facts, but I think the problem is with Thomas was getting at, like when you speak certain facts because they're unpopular, there's a pushback, and the person who's speaking the facts get attacked. And until we get to a comfortable place that we can have those type of conversations, there's going to always be a problem. Like I said, not one time have I ever had phone calls because somebody on a podcast voiced their opinion about men. Not one time. Not one time. You know what I mean? But because maybe, myself or Derek, or now even Thomas, as he's a reoccurring a young man that comes on a podcast now, when he speak his opinions or even state statistics, you hate yourself.
Yeah.
You give off gay energy.
Yeah.
You hate your mother. You hate, it's all of these different things. You get attacked for not just your opinion, but for just stating statistics, not even yours.
Yeah.
That's what's the point to everybody, to where it's like you can't really have these type of conversations in a safe, respectful manner, because it's like one-way aggression.
Yes. And that's the part, like, even when was her name Joy, she said the way men interact with each other is because it's a low level of violence. We're not going to be disrespectful with each other, because if it go left, one of us could get severely hurt. So we're not going to argue. We're not going to talk to each other in a certain way. But sometimes I find, like, when you talking to other people, since they don't want to, when you talking to other people, they will call you gay. They'll say, who hurt you?
I know what you mean.
They'll call you broke. You like, what?
I know what you mean. When it comes to men and men square up and have conversations, there's a low-level threat of violence. So the conversation is more respectable.
More respectful. But then you have
a 5-foot woman calling a 6-foot man a dusty and a bum. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So
I just rather for you to say it, because there ain't nobody making no phone calls about me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem saying these things, because it's like, if it's true, it's true. We see women that say to men to suck them off when they get upset with what the man said. Like, come on. I think the problem is the community. That's why the kids are the way they are. Because if you don't see a good example of an adult around you, you're going to act accordingly. And this is for men or women. If I look around at the demographic in my community and see it's a negative vibe, the majority of the community, I'm going to have a negative vibe. I'm not going to know how to interact with people. I'm going to act a certain way. I'm going to act without morals. So I think that's the problem. Like, the men and women that, for the most part, in the community are not high quality people.
I get it. I think as far as entitlement without children, I think there should be it needs to be a better balance. Shame needs to come back into play, because people are not shameful of anything.
I think
as far as the way etiquette, proper etiquette, the way that you talk, you know, in conversation, just calling grown people bro,
yes,
you know, is disrespectful. So just the conversation about entitlement, I think the balance of nurturer and disciplinarian, I think that we need to really double down on that, and just respect and get back to the family dynamics, you know, God, man, woman, children, and hope for the best. But we have to learn to have conversations to where people don't get triggered and feel attacked, because we don't favor the information.
I agree.
All right, Derek, come close this out. Somebody close this out.
This was a good episode. It went left and then came back right, then went back left again.
I tried my best. I came on late. I had to go work out, man. But I'm trying to be a productive member of society.
Well, we're glad you were the productive member of society. Thank everybody for tuning in. We gotta have. I think when we have our anniversary episode and we go live, we gotta have one of these topics where we can have this conversation with it in person, because I tell you, I do agree with what Joy is saying about the war. Society has placed men and women in this war against each other.
I know. Never mind. I was about to say something crazy. Never mind.
And no matter what says, soon as that finger pointing goes, soon as that finger goes up, they come ready. They come ready and they roll deep. So we're gonna
when is the anniversary?
I don't know. Ask Cat. I just get on the show.
Yeah.
But so Sean, you wanna?
You know what I got, and my sister Joy, thanks for coming on. Thomas, you know you're my man. All y'all in the comment section, y'all got to dial in. Y'all gotta, if you feel like you got something to say, don't be afraid. It's easier to have real-time conversations, and the more we get more mindful, knowledgeable people to sit down and have conversations like this, the better it'll get. So let's get back to family.
That's what's up. And he talking about family. He talking about the family where there's a husband and a wife and children, so that the kids can come out halfway decent as So we thank y'all for tuning in, and as always, no.
Can I say one thing crazy?
You got it.
Yeah.
The reason why a lot of men can't, a lot of men don't stand up to chaos, is because the first person they ever met that was made out of chaos was their mother.
Oh God.
And on that note, meet us at the podcast with Joe Garment. Don't you call Kyra? She wasn't even here. Tell you all the wildest. Come back to next week and we'll get candy. Yeah. Good night. Good night.